Bon dia, buenos dias, bonjour, good morning. Thank you for attending. I'm going to talk about 3D printing in healthcare. Is it prototyping or is it production? Most people don't know that it has already crossed over into high volume production, and I'll give you some examples. There's many applications for 3D printing, from the head to the toes. Artificial tracheas, cranial patches. You've seen some exhibits over here to the left. And some of these are actually fascinating improvements of life, but it has crossed over into high volume production. There's fantastic examples of 3D printed hearts for children for pre-surgical studies. Lots of really interesting things. But most people don't know that these four applications combined account for more 3D printed parts than all the industrial applications combined. About 250,000 parts per day are printed for medical devices already. And I'm going to talk about those four applications and give you some examples. The first one, how many here have heard of the Invisalign product, the invisible braces, right? Largest 3D printing company in the world. Nobody's even close. They print over 150,000 custom sets of teeth a day. They have a huge building in Juarez, Mexico, full of 3D printers doing custom medical devices. The data comes from two sources. They have an intraoral scanner that looks like an electric toothbrush, and it creates a 3D scan of the teeth. They send that into some fancy software, and the software moves the teeth one little step at a time. They print that set of teeth. They vacuum form a thin piece of polycarbonate over that. A robot trims it back to the gum line. You wear that for 2 weeks. Your teeth move just a little bit. You throw it away, you put the next one in, you put the next one in. 2 years, your teeth are straight, no braces. Right? That company wouldn't exist without 3D printing. It's an $800 million company. They've been doing this for over 10 years. Right? This is not prototyping, this is production. Dental, gone mainstream many years ago. It's actually accelerating. There's some good examples from a Spanish company here. Make sure you go look at that. These examples, surgical drill guides. In the US, more dentists are going to do a surgical implant than the oral surgeons this year for the first time. About 5 million inserts are going to be installed this year. Most of them do not use a surgical guide. In a surgical guide, you take the teeth, take a CT scan, and it guides the drill on the depth and the orientation so the screw goes in the right location. Very popular application. Now they have dental scanners for making the 3D models. Also for dentures, the partial frameworks. Those are all 3D printed either in wax. They also have metal printers that will print it directly in a chrome cobalt. The crown and bridge restorations, very difficult to carve the teeth to the correct anatomy and the right occlusion, but the software can do it in 2 seconds and print the wax ups to be cast in ceramic. Even custom impression trays, so you get a very, very accurate impression. This has already crossed over into mainstream. Probably 40 or 50,000 pieces a day are made globally, including all the big outsourcing places in China, the big outsourcing centers in Europe. It's all digital. Hearing aids. Same sort of data. You either take a silicon impression of your ear. That's I had a set of headphones created for myself. Or now there's actually an in-the-ear scanner. They put something in your ear, it looks like an electric thermometer, and when they pull it out, it scans the inside of your ear. So that data goes to a CAD system. They develop the shell or the actually speaker. It's 3D printed in a biocompatible material that goes into your ear. 60 million parts have already been produced in the last 10 years. 60 million have been 3D printed, right? It's not prototyping, it's production. Orthopedics. Last year in the US, there were 650,000 total knee replacements. 10% were done with surgical guides that were 3D printed. So they take a CT scan of your knee, biomedical engineer creates a model of your knee. They say, that's going to be a size 6 knee that goes on it, and they do a cut to fit guide. They send a kit with a knee, the saw guides, the drills, everything's needed for the operation. It saves about 20 to 40 minutes per operation. The operations are only like 60 to 90 minutes, so they save about a third of the time of operating cost. And the goal is that you actually end up with a better knee. You end up with a 30-year knee instead of a 20-year knee. They don't know the long-term outcome because they haven't been doing it for that long. But it's production. All right, so 3D printing, you either have a mass customized quantity of one, or maybe for surgical instruments, they're doing a special saw, and you need 500 pieces. Well, why tool up? Why don't you just print the 500 parts? I'm going to have you take a look at the future. There's a lot more things than you can do with 3D printing. Built-in sensors, different surface finishes, conductive traces. Here's a little look into the future. Is there sound on this?
Color, thermal and electrical conductivity, and elastic modulus. This allows for conductors, passive circuits, integrated electronic circuits, and other features to be embedded, adding intelligence and functionality. For example, consider the need to understand how a part behaves under applied loads. Today, measuring deformation under load using strain gauges is a manual and complex process. With multi-jet fusion, a part could have strain measurement capability built in at virtually no cost, so that the part could tell the user when it's overloaded. HP Multi-Jet Fusion can print conductive traces inside or on the surface of a part to build an array of strain gauges. Now, imagine that a load-bearing part could communicate its state while the machine is operating. Inductively powered, embedded low-power Bluetooth or visual indicators could provide remote monitoring for the life of a part in critical applications. Multi-Jet Fusion enables new functionalities that provide key advantages and exceed the possibilities of traditional manufacturing. With HP Multi-Jet Fusion, the future of manufacturing is intelligent.
Yeah, so just imagine that you have sensors built into an artificial knee that you're replacing. It can do the weight, the strain, how many steps you've had over the 20 years and connecting to your Bluetooth device. That's a little bit look in the future. I'd like to have as a guest speaker up here, Jiri Rosicky from the Czech Republic, fascinating company called Invent Medical. He's going to talk about a particular device for quality of life. Do you want me to get the sample?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Presentation. Oh, good morning, everybody. It's a big pleasure for me to be here. I'm coming from the company called Invent Medical, and we are focused on application of direct digital manufacturing for custom-made orthotic and prosthetic products. And today, I'd like to demonstrate the possibilities of 3D printing in cranial remolding orthotic treatment. So, why we use cranial orthosis? So, cranial orthosis is the tool we can use for orthotic treatment of head-shaped deformities. Sometimes it's called flat head syndrome or possessional deformities. And the principle is that the helmet is made for individual patient, for a baby, with surface contact, and we just control the growth direction. So inside the helmet there is the space, and because of big expansion of the brain, the skull could be reshaped. and the application is about 3 to 4 months, and the helmet should be used for 23 hours per day. So it means the demand on comfort of wearing is very high. And here is the overview of the standard manufacturing process. So it's a combination now of digital and manual processes. So we take the scan of the baby head and we get a digital model. We mill the copy of the head from polyurethane material, and manual by plaster we modify the head shape to get the reference for manual manufacturing. And the manual manufacturing, it's quite a long chain of processes like draping and cutting and grinding and polishing and assembly, and it's quite a long process. So that's why we choose the 3D printing as an alternative for future. So based on the assessment of a doctor, usually the neurosurgeon, we take the scan of the baby head and we modify the head shape in computer, and this surface is for us the reference on which we design the cranial remolding helmet, and into reality we turn it by 3D printing. So the reason why we use the 3D printing is that we can do a product innovation. So the design freedom during the 3D printing enable us to introduce the lightweight and breathable structures. The inbuilt function, we call it bioresponsive structures. So the internal layer can work together with the changes of the volume and the shape of the baby's head. And we could introduce a very attractive design, and it's very important for parents and for the family and people around. And we are very lucky. We could print some tests on multi-jet fusion technology from HP, and here is a very brief comparison. So through 3D printing, the time is about 2 hours, and the direct cost about $140 US. If we compare it to standard manufacturing, combination of digital and manual processes, the time is 3 hours, it's 50% more, and the costs are comparable. Nevertheless, our limitation now in this process is we need 2 people. We manufacture a maximum 5 pieces per day, and there is a lot of operation and technology needed for milling, thermoforming, cutting, grinding, assembly, etc. And the main reason why we like 3D printing, we have totally different product. Compare what we do now, we have totally different product with improved function and treatment, and it enables us for future new business model based on dislocated manufacturing, so we can print literally all over the world, so that gives us unprecedented scaling and minimize other costs like shipping, etc. So we are very, very proud, and we trust that 3D printing can really improve quality of life of our patient. Thank you very much for your attention.